All right, so everybody, welcome to Kailul Kol Shira, always in partnership with Breslov.org. And I want to thank everyone for joining us today on Hashir, on our Zoom. It's wonderful, all you chevra. And again, please, everyone has the right, anytime, if we're saying anything, please jump in, ask a question. It's an open forum, okay? So now, let's try to understand what happened in last week's parsha, at the end of the parsha. All right, what happened? Something strange. In other words, we saw that Bilam wound up giving us a bracha mateva l'Yaakov, right? And after that, Bilam and Balak went home. They retreated, but then we see that the benois, these women came. And they seduced the Jewish people, and we lost 24,000 people to this. It's amazing. 24,000 Yidden died in this terrible Magefa. Came along Pinchas, and he was kind of Kinasi Hashem. He took on the vengeance of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And by Pinchas doing this, it caused the Magefa to cease. The Magefa, this plague, ceased. It stopped. Via Pinchas killing the Zimri, right, and Cosby, he killed these two, and by doing that, it ceased. It stopped. Now let's understand. What did killing them do to cause the Magefa to stop? And now, another question that we can discuss is, we know that Pinchas Zu Elio and Elio Hanavi, we know, lives forever. Now, why would Pinchas gain such a reward that he becomes Elio Hanavi, and now he lives forever? But what did he do? I mean, of course, he did something. He did something amazing for Klal Yisrael. But let us remember, he risked his life. He risked his life. Why? Because we know that when there's such a thing going on there was such a situation going on there of znus, and then you have one guy that comes up and he tries to stop it, but there's so many against him. He understood that he was going to do this, and he was doing this l'shem shemayim, and he was doing this in a way to understand that he may lose his life, but he has to do what he has to do. Pinchas said, "I need to do what I need to do." Pinchas said, "I'm going to do that, and I don't care what will happen to me because of this. I don't care." And because he was so selfless. He was selfless by giving up his life for something for Klal Yisrael, nothing for his own personal gain. So that's one of the reasons why. Now, but let us understand, and there's a tremendous Torah, beautiful Torah in Likutey Moharan, and that's lesson Reish Mem Aleph. So that's lesson 241, and it's in the first part of Likutey Moharan. And the Rebbe explains a tremendous idea of what was the mechanics behind Pinchas killing the Nasi and his cousin. By killing them, why did the Magefa stop? And let us understand that. And it's a fascinating understanding. So it goes like this. The Rebbe says like this, Zok the Rebbe. Kishayesh dinim chas v'shalom. Whenever there's judgment, there's a problem going on in somebody's life. There's such there's a situation going on. The person's going through a terrible pain. The person's going through a terrible financial issue. Whatever the case may be. Azai hamidas hadin haya mechala es adam. The midas hadin can consume, can destroy the person. Chas v'shalom. But he says like this: Aval hamidas hadin ein lo. But the Midas Adin does not have the ability to totally destroy the person. The midas hadin that's meted out min hashemayim does not have the ability to totally kill the person. Kimai sham Rabbi Seinu Zechariah Levracha, as the Chazal teach us, chatzai kolim vehem einain kolim. Okay, the arrows will be absorbed. They're absorbed. But they're not. But the haim einam kolim, we will not be destroyed. In other words, when there's a din coming out min hashemayim, when there's a din min hashemayim, the din min hashemayim will cause there to be a problem, but will never ever be destroyed. As we see, you know, we're in the Bein HaMetzarim now, and all the problems that we went through, and we read through the Kinnis, and we see all of the problems. And the problems that we're dealing with our own today, what Klal Yisrael is dealing with. But we see that we always continue. It never stops. HaKadosh Baruch Hu keeps us going. It's amazing. Baruch Hashem. But look what he says now. But a person can totally destroy his friend. A person has the ability to totally destroy. Where it comes a din from Shemayim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's din, he'll be hurt, he'll have trouble, but he won't be totally destroyed. But a person can totally can cause the destruction of his friend. And therefore, if there's a problem, we see a person, a friend, is going through a difficult situation, and another guy comes, and this person comes and now he argues, and he starts a fight with this person going through a problem. So he's adding insult to injury, right? The guy's already injured. Now they're throwing salt on the wound. Right? Azai midas adin mistalek mimenu. So now that because this person came in at this point and fought with this guy that's going through the problem. Let's say there's Reuven and Shimon, right? Reuven is going through the din. He's having a terrible, terrible situation. Comes along Shimon, and Shimon picks a fight with him now. So says the Rebbe, when that happens, the din is lifted from Reuven. Kiheim roitzin yoiser, because the din min hashemayim, the Satan wants more. Sheyinkam by ha'adam ki yesh lo koyach. See, the Sitra Achar is in charge of causing a Jew to sin, right? The Yetzer Hara causes a Jew to sin. And then what does he do? The Yetzer goes to Hashem and says, hey, look, the guy just sinned. Wait, hold on a second. You just caused him to sin, and now you're bringing him up on charges. Yeah, that's what he does. But the Satan knows that he can't totally destroy. The Midas Adin can't totally destroy. But now he sees when the other guy comes, like the Rebbe said, when it comes, the arrows from HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be absorbed, they won't destroy. All right? But when it comes to the other friend, the other guy comes in now, and the other guy starts the fight. So now Shimon picks that fight with Reuven. He causes the din min hashemayim to be lifted, because now, and why? Because the Satan wants more so that Shimon will fight with him, because Shimon can totally destroy him. And that's all the Satan wants. He wants us to be destroyed. So he'll give up his own challenge because he wants us to be destroyed. And okay, that's the introduction. That's the introduction to the lesson, to understand what happened with Pinchas and how this is happening, what this has to do with Pinchas. And therefore somebody that's a great tzaddik, a righteous, pious person, and he's very, very careful. He's working on tikkun olam. There are tzaddikim that are working tirelessly on tikkun olam. right? There were always great tzaddikim, but a tzaddik that I can remind you of, in recent time. I mean, within 100 years, there was a great tzaddik in Yerushalayim, Avram Yitzchak HaKoyen Cook, and he was the Rav of Yerushalayim, and he was a person that was involved in Tikkun Olam. He understood that there's something greater. There's something greater than the actual mundane things that we deal with on a regular day. He was involved in this idea of Tikkun Olam. So what happened? Hu chaylek lepamim bekavana al tzaddik echad. So sometimes you'll have one tzaddik that picks a fight on another tzaddik. Now, when the outsiders look at it, when we look at it, and we're thinking, hey, why is he fighting with this tzaddik? But we don't understand that there's really an ulterior motive. He sees that this tzaddik is going through a din. Now we just learned that when the Satan sees that the tzaddik is going, a Jew, especially a tzaddik, is going through a din, the Satan doesn't like the tzaddikim. The Satan doesn't want the tzaddik because the tzaddik is involved in tikkun olam. The Satan does not want that at all. So now, this other tzaddik comes along and the other tzaddik picks a fight with the tzaddik. So when we look at it on the outside, we're looking, why are these tzaddikim fighting? What's going on over here? But really there's an ulterior motive. He's doing it to lift the din off of his friend, the other tzaddik. In order to remove the din that's on the tzaddik. Ki yismechu olav shehu yinkam yoser. Because the Satan is relying. He's relying on this other tzaddik is going to really give it to him good. But afterwards, the tzaddik, after he gets the din lifted off of his friend, the other tzaddik, after he removes the din because he gave him a good stoch, he gave him something, gave him something good, and he caused him a little more tsar, via that, because he was able to remove the din of the Satan from that tzaddik, but afterwards, once the din was removed, he deals with his friend with Rachmanis. And he's not trying to pain his friend. That's not the reason why he did that. He didn't do that to cause more pain to the tzaddik. He didn't want to add insult to the injury to the tzaddik. That's what he was trying to do. Now, how does this tie into Pinchas? V'zeh Perish Pinchas ben Elazar. Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKoyen. Hey Sheves Chamosi. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said he lifted my anger. Bikana yes kinasi b'soicham v'loy kilisi. Says the Torah is made. The Torah is testifying that Pinchas came and he was bikana. He took on the vengeance. He took on the anger of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not wind up destroying Klal Yisrael. Hainu shepinchas heisheves chamas Hashem v'silak midas hadin me Yisrael. So here there was a midas hadin on Klal Yisrael, and listen, Klal Yisrael was involved in something not so nice. Was it befitting on Klal Yisrael? We're not a judge of that. But obviously we see there was a din going on Klal Yisrael. And Pinchas understood this idea that the din min hashemayim will cause problems, but it won't destroy. But if I come and I do something, so then the din will be lifted off of Klal Yisrael. And if the din is lifted off of Klal Yisrael, then I can act in a way of Rahmanis to Klal Yisrael. He cloaked himself with the nekama, with the vengeance. And Pinchas cloaked himself. He clothed himself with this nekama, to take nekama on them. And therefore the din, and that's why the Magefa stopped. And that was the reason why the Magefa was able to stop, Why else would the Magef have stopped? Because the dinim themselves, they can't totally destroy. They can't totally, but Pinchas had the ability to totally destroy. But Pinchas only wanted to lift the din from Klal Yisrael. Al Keneim Roitzim Yoisek Yishadam Roitzelinka. Therefore, they wanted more, that Pinchas will take on the anger. And Pinchas will mete out the punishment, because Pinchas will mete out a greater punishment than even the Sutton's allowed to do himself. And that's what it means that Hashem says, and I didn't destroy the Bnei Yisrael b'kinasi because of my kinna, because of my jealousy. I don't know whatever word, how else you want to translate it. It's any English word silly to translate it. Hainu shebezeh ma'idiyah lanu ha'Torah. This is what the Torah is testifying. Goydel ha'Torah she'asa Pinchas Yisrael. The great Taiva, the great deed that Pinchas did for Klal Yisrael, because he enclosed himself with the nekama. That Pinchas enclosed himself, and he took on the ability to take on the nekama on them. And with that, Pinchas did a great taiva, a great deed for all of Klal Yisrael. Vatamhu. What's the reason? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying that the Midas Adin, that my HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself does not do any Midas Adin. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has all the shluchim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is involved in doing good. HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself does good. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu has his shluchim. He has his messengers. He has the Sitra, he has all of his messages and all the angels. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has that. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'midas adin sheli eini mechala es b'nei Yisrael. I won't destroy the Jewish people. Ki midas adin ein ba koyach lechalas, because my midas adin, Hashem says, doesn't have. I don't give them. It's not that Hashem can't do it. Hashem doesn't give the Satan, doesn't give the Midas Adin the ability to totally destroy. It's only because HaKadosh Baruch Hu set it up this way. But if a person takes revenge, he takes revenge, he can totally destroy the person. Al Kain Asa Pinchas Toiva Nifla Yisrael. And therefore Pinchas did for a wondrous good deed for Klal Yisrael. Masha Lovash Kina Linkoin Bahem. Ki al Yedei Zer Rafsa Mi Yisrael Koyach Adinim. He weakened the Koyach Adin from Klal Yisrael. B'choshvam shepinchas yinkaim bahem yoiser, because the Midas Adin, they called a meeting. The Minchas, the Midas Adin, the Satan and all his angels, they called an emergency cabinet meeting, right? And they said, look. Okay, so there's a situation going on over here now, and Pinchas stepped in, and he put on the cloak of vengeance. So now, I think this says the Sitra Acher. Listen, I think we should abort our mission and allow Pinchas to totally destroy them, because we can't do it anyway. Hashem doesn't give us the ability, but maybe Pinchas will be so angry at what's going on, he'll totally destroy them. Amazing. Al Kain, through this Heiship Pinchas es Chamasi, Pinchas was able to lift the anger, to silek midas adin. He was able to remove the midas adin. Ava be'emes, Pinchas bevadei hayarachamim. Pinchas was mamish abal rachamim. Pinchas did this because he couldn't stand seeing all of his brothers and sisters. He couldn't stand seeing us falling like flies. Pinchas says, I have to do something. And Pinchas did something. And certainly he lightened the load, the din, on Klal Yisrael. So here we see such a beautiful understanding that Rabbi Nachman taught us, based on the Gemara insight. He's using that as his foundation of understanding what caused the din to leave Klal Yisrael, because Pinchas was kind of kinasei of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But now we understand, because the Midas Adin said at the time, I'm happy. I'm very, very happy. I am very, very happy if Klal Yisrael is being attacked by Pinchas, because we don't have the wherewithal within us to destroy Klal Yisrael. But the person does. Pinchas does. And via Pinchas doing this, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave Pinchas two gifts. He gave him the Brisi Shalom, and then he gave him he became the Chaim. He also got Kahuna, and he got Brisi Shalom. Why? Because he was selfless. And this is what the Rebbeinu Shalom always wants us to act in a way of Mesiras Nefesh, to be selfless and to do for others, and not to always worry what's going on with me, what's going to be with me. It's all about others. It's all about others, and because it's all about others, and this is what Pinchas demonstrated, that's why Pinchas was able to accomplish what he was able to accomplish.